Little League Southeast Park buzzing on day one of the Little League Southeastern Regional Tournament as West Boynton Beach, representing Florida, gets set to take on Logan and West Virginia. This is the way the day stacks up so far. Tennessee and Georgia victorious, sending Alabama and Virginia into the losers bracket. Still 2 games remain on this first day of competition. Welcome inside the booth, everybody. Thrilled to have you with us. Drew Felios alongside the former big league catcher Mike LaValliere. Well, we've got Florida and West Virginia. Remember, same exact matchup last year, and a big surprise. West Virginia's got a lot of respect as of late.
Well, I tell you one thing, the team from Bridgeport really made a big impression on the whole state. Talking with the coaches from Logan, they got a victory against Florida last year. They're coming in to try to do the same thing today.
All right, Florida comes in with some pretty nice talent out of West Boynton Beach. Look at their catcher, Aiden Gurovich. He's probably the best example.
Well, I tell you, and this is a big kid. He's the biggest kid on that team. And I tell you what, he is all about power. He's their number 4 hitter. He's got to play both sides. He's got to handle the pitching staff, but he can make a lot of noise with his stick.
West Virginia comes in here with Aiden Slack. He is going to have to pitch his best for them to get the win today.
Yeah, we're going with the theme of big players, and Aiden Slack, 5'11", just under 6 feet. She gives you a real tough target. Good downward motion on that fastball. He's a power pitcher, good hard fastball. When he's up at the plate, he can also do some damage too.
So Logan, West Virginia, a town of roughly 1,600 residents. How will they respond on the big stage at Warner Robins? We'll find out. Florida, West Virginia, straight. Third game on this first day of competition, set to get underway. Florida, West Boynton Beach, representing, taking on Logan, West Virginia. As you get a look at Aiden Slack on the mound, he has got the size, and he has got a big right arm trying to keep this Florida offense at bay today, Mike. Well,
I tell you, and this is a big old tall drink of water on the mound, a very imposing figure. And what happens when you're that tall, the ball comes in at a little different angle, makes things a little bit tougher to square it up. Also, he throws hard. He's going to be somewhere in the upper 60s, lower 70s. He does throw a curveball and a changeup, but when it comes down to it, it's all about the gas.
This Florida lineup, power hitting team, so this is power against power here today, as they will lead off with Sammy Hawk. Sammy Hawk, the right fielder, followed by Ryan Shiflett. Javier Soto, Gurovich is the cleanup guy. He's the catcher. Rucker, Cesars, Strakowski, and the 2 Lashley brothers at the bottom of the order. Sammy Hawk with tremendous speed. He's the guy that gets it going for this Florida team. And Florida team that really over the past 7-8 years has not made a lot of noise here in Warner Robins. They've got the great baseball tradition. They've won the Southeastern Regional more than any other team. Looking to get back to Williamsport starting here today, as the first ball taken just low for ball 1. 22 appearances in Williamsport for Florida teams in the past. Hawk takes his second ball, ball 2.
Yeah, close pitch. It looks like Hawk is taking all the way.
Got to mention our umpires, the great job they've been doing today. Michael Oakes behind the plate, Donnie Caudell at first base, Rich Bavilacqua at second base, and David Singleton, the third base umpire. 3-0 pitch to Hawk, and this is going to be a strike. No? Yes, it will be a strike. It's 3-1. Great coaching staff for Florida. Chuck Shiflett done a tremendous job with this bunch, and the game starts with a walk to Sammy Hawk. Florida has their leadoff hitter aboard. There's the defense for West Virginia. Starting the outfield with Caden Dotson, Caleb Vance, and Colton Goldie. Third base, it's Williamson. Shortstop, Glick. Maynard's the second baseman. Connor Lowe at first. And Jake Ramsey is behind the plate today. Now it's Ryan Shiflett, the coach's son. Shiflett usually number 3 hitter. Today hitting number 2 as he sees it just outside. He's got good power, also tremendous speed. This young man makes things happen in this Florida lineup. This one missing outside, so perhaps a little bit of jitters early on for Aiden Slack.
Well, I think, he missed a couple of pitches early in the game that just missed. And now Florida's in their head a little bit. They're out there and obviously taking pitches. Not sure if the young man, Aiden Slack, has anything wrong with him physically. I just think that right now Florida's in his head. They're going to make him throw strikes.
And the times, Mike, that you were catching behind the plate, so many years, did you often find pitchers, big pitchers, that maybe struggled throwing to smaller hitters?
By the time you get to the level of the big leagues, there were no small hitters except me. And they didn't have any problems throwing strikes to me. So, most of the time, as you progress through into professional baseball, it really doesn't happen. But I have seen it at this level. It's almost to the point where, these guys get out there and they want to take something off in order to try to throw a strike. And what that does is just it messes up their mechanics, changes their timing. And what they need to do is rear back, fire it. The whole idea. You go ahead and makes your target smaller. Instead of, if you're just looking at throwing it towards the plate, try to pick out the catcher's glove. Try to throw it right at the glove or maybe at the shin pad, something like that. That way your misses shouldn't be so wild.
Runners on first and second now, and a good opportunity for Javier Soto, the third baseman. Soto is a tremendous spark. His favorite athlete, Derek Jeter, but this young man plays the game with tremendous passion. Florida coaching staff says he gets into it more than anybody else in the lineup, and now it's 2-0 quickly to Soto. Well, pitch for Aiden Slack, and it's a strike.
Yeah, you see 73 miles an hour, so it's not like he's holding back. I mean, that's just some gas. That's slightly less than 98 miles an hour if you're a big league pitcher.
Soto watches this one outside, and now the Florida runners will advance to second and third. Behind the plate, Jake Ramsey for West Virginia. You look up into the stands also, and West Virginia's going to have a decisive edge fan-wise here at Little League Southeast Park. They have a great representation from Logan, West Virginia. These fans have come ready to cheer. This is put in play. Great stab by Slack as he tosses over to Connor Lowe for the first out. That was a tremendous play.
Well, ball was barreled up by Soto, just a one-hopper. The height of 5'11" Slack really came into play. Good reactions, good base running, nowhere to go. And so far, so good for West Virginia. And Aiden Slack, he gets this guy out. He got a chance to get out of this unblemished.
Aiden Gurovich. He is the powerhouse in this Florida lineup. Big number 99. He gets a hold of one. It is going to go a long way. Check swing that time. Runner will come home, and Florida's taking it early, 1-0 lead.
Well, Sammy Hawk with some outstanding base running, good read. At the big league level, you call it dirt ball reads. Once the ball's in the dirt, you're automatically thinking about advancing. The fastball kept, just got away from Ramey just a little bit, and didn't have to go very far, but certainly taking advantage right there by Sammy Hawk.
Gurovich watches this one high. It's 3-0. I think this Florida lineup wanted to get to Aiden Slack as early as possible. Runner on third now with one out. The 3-0 to Gurovich. And he's taken all the way, ball 4. So now runners on the corners, and Tristan Rucker, the first baseman, will come to the plate for Florida. Rutgers another power hitter, not quite the level of Gurovich, but Tristan can go to all parts of the field. He takes a strike. Favorite food, stromboli. This one to the backstop, but comes right back, and Ramsey does a good job getting on top of it.
Now Gurovich taking the free base down to second base. Smart base running by Shiflett, realizing that the backstop not too far away. It'd have to really take a bad bounce for him to score.
High again. Ramsey able to track it down. There's the pitch count so far for Aiden Slack. 22nd pitch already on the way. And a big strike delivered.
When you have this kind of velocity and this much down angle on that fastball, it's just a matter of throwing strikes. I don't see the Florida team really being able to beat on him. It just right now he's just got to get that ball over the plate a little bit more.
Big cut by Rucker, got a piece of that one. It stays 2-2. Two-two pitch to Rucker. Swing and a miss for strike 3. So 2 down.
That's a big out, Drew, for Slack. They get out of this thing with just giving up 1 run. Yes, you get to the point where he is racking up a number of pitches, but still, you give up 1 run with all of what's happened so far, and really, I got to consider that a huge victory.
Early visit to the mound. West Virginia team managed by Doug Williamson, also Larry Ramey and Mark Lowe. And already a pitching change for West Virginia, as they will call in Caleb Vance to the hill. And keep in mind, pitch counts are a huge part of Little League Baseball. So Slack with just over 20 pitches, where does he stand, Mike?
Well, since he started that last at-bat less than 20 pitches, he ended up with 24. He's going to be eligible to throw tomorrow. So that's, one of the things they may feel that Slack doesn't have it today, a little bit too wild. Now they're going to go to their secondary guy, and you'll have Slack that'll be able to pitch. So, a situation where Coach Williamson thinks that he might be better off going ahead and letting Slack maybe start tomorrow's ball game rather than labor through what we've seen so far.
So Caleb Vance enters the game. Vance, a guy who hits at the top of the order for West Virginia. Called on here with 2 outs to just finish the job. It's a very interesting strategy to know that probably your top guy in Aiden Slack, why not let him rest? Doesn't have his best stuff. He's not off to the best start. But at the same time, you don't really let him settle in, Mike. You pull him, and you hope he's better tomorrow.
Well, you're right, and this is, really talking about knowing your players. They feel very good about bringing Caleb Vance in. He's a situation type pitcher where he can throw his fastball, his curveball, his changeup anytime in the count, thinking that possibly keep the Florida batters off balance. He's not going to overpower you. His fastball is going to be in the low 60s, so he's going to have to hit his spots and mix his pitches, and that's what they're hoping to keep it close here.
Nicholas Cesar steps in for Florida. Cesars will be the starting pitcher when Florida takes the field. And he hits this one into right field. A big RBI shot for Cesars. 1 run is in. The second's going to score. A huge 2-out single.
Well, the pitcher comes up and says, help yourself. Well, Nick Cesars certainly did this. 2-out base hit into right field. Pulls the ball between the first and second baseman. We'll take a look at it right here. Ball hit really well. No chance at all for Connor Lowe at first base. Right fielder Colton Goldie just a little bit off on his throw to home plate. So, that's a situation. You roll the dice, you take out your best, you put in somebody else, and a 2-out hit. It's tough going so far right now with West Virginia.
So Cesar's able to help his own cause, and now Ethan Strakowski steps in for Florida. Strakowski, very solid, got a good-looking swing from that left side. Big decision early on for West Virginia, the coaching staff led by Doug Williamston, to remove their ace. And let's see how it's going to play out throughout this game. That's a good pitch by Vance for a strike on the outside part of the plate. 1 ball, 2 strikes now with 2 down. This is hit hard to right field. It's got a chance, and it's gone! Ethan Strakowski unloads here in the first inning for Florida.
Now Caleb Vance pitched before was a little off-speed pitch on the outside corner. He tried to come in thinking that he'd be able to sneak one by on the inside corner. Ethan Strakowski, he says, no, I'm not playing that game. And gets the barrel head out. And no doubter, the ball easily up on the bank in right center field. And as soon as that ball is hit off the bat, that's a 2-run blast.
Hit hard again, but this one right at the second baseman, Dawson Maynard. And that'll do it for Florida in the first. But what an inning. Highlighted by the big 2-run bomb from Ethan Strakowski. And Florida is up 5-0. Nicholas Cesars will start the game on the mound for Florida. Just delivered a huge 2-out RBI single. And now, Mike, what stuff does he have for the team visiting from West Point Beach?
Well, Nick Cesars brings intensity to the mound. He's a guy that whatever he starts, he wants to finish. He doesn't like to be taken out of the game. Stuff-wise, he's going to throw middle 60s. He's got a curveball. And depending on the batter and the situation, his out pitch, his strikeout pitch will either be that good moving fastball or the breaking ball.
Let's take a look at the lineup for West Virginia. Caleb Vance will lead things off. Aiden Slack will hit second, followed by Ramey and Maynard, the cleanup guy. Connor Lowe hits fifth. Garrett Williamson, Colton Goldie, Jaron Click, and Caden Dotson in left field. It's ninth. Early 5 spot on the board for Florida as strike delivered to Caleb Vance. So we wondered at the start how this team from Logan, West Virginia would respond on the big stage here in Warner Robins. A little bit shaky to start on defense, trying to get the bats going here. And it's something you can never simulate, Mike, how you perform when all the cameras are on you, all the people are watching. This just doesn't happen in every game that these young men play at.
I would have to think this is field-wise probably the nicest field that either or all 8 of these teams will play on this year, except for our advancement to Williamsport. And that's an intimidating thing. You get used to home cooking. You get used to smaller ballparks, possibly not as manicured, but that's one of the things you get in a comfort zone. And now these kids are thrust into a different comfort zone, and some adjust better than others.
Caleb Vance strikes out. Now that brings up Aiden Slack. Really smooth motion by the pitcher, Nicholas Cesars. Aiden Slack, power hitter, also a terror on the base pass. One of the fastest players we're going to see in this tournament. Takes one high, and it's 2-0. Strike on the outside part of the plate, 2-1. just waving at that one. Is Slack. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
It was almost looking like he was wanting an off-speed pitch and kind of just like you said, waved at that fastball in a situation here where, yeah, I got to look heater and try to do my best and adjust to the off-speed pitch. I wouldn't think that the Florida team's going to get too exotic on the mound to where they're going to start throwing breaking balls behind the count. 5-run lead, you go right at them.
That one just misses low, so Slack will take his base. And West Virginia has their first base runner. There's the defense for Florida. In the outfield, Strakowski, Lashley, and Hawk in right. Soto, the third baseman. Matthew Lashley starts the game at short. Ryan Schliflet at second. Tristan Rucker at first. And Aiden Gurovich behind the plate. Jake Ramey's turn.
Jake Ramey, the purest hitter on this West Virginia team. He's got a good mixture of bat discipline, hits for a good average. He's got pop in his bat, plus he runs the bases real well.
Now, this is the guy that is so tough to strike out. And he gets by the catcher, so Gurovich has to go to the backstop. Aiden Slack will head to second.
Yeah, there again to our young catchers. I see a lot at this level of catchers, trying to make a pitch look too good. Number one thing, catch it. Keep it in front of you. You do that, there's going to be more good things happen than bad. I see way too many times, trying to make a pitch look good to get that strike for your pitcher, and the ball bounces away, and you get a free base for that runner.
Ramey watches ball 4, and now West Virginia with runners on first and second base. Interesting, this West Virginia program, they only have about 30, 11, and 12-year-olds in the entire league of Logan, Mike. So 13 of them are obviously on this team. Not a big talent pool to choose from, but they have certainly assembled the strongest 13, and they are competing here in the first inning in Warner Robins.
Yeah, I know, talking with Doug Williamson and Larry Ramey, Mark Lowe, the coaches for West Virginia, I asked them what impact Bridgeport not being at the state tournament had, and Bridgeport got knocked out early. They took 2 losses and they were done. And after that, it was almost like they said, you know what, we're destined to be here. We've got that kind of team. And I think it let them relax to the point where they really had a nice run of it through the West Virginia State Championships.
Back-to-back walks now. And that brings up Dawson Maynard. Maynard also takes one low. Dawson Maynard's got a pretty nice stick as well. A little bit of struggling from Nicholas Cesars, trying to straighten things out here. There's a strike, 2-1. Try and throw down to second base. This is going to skate into the outfield, and the left fielder playing way back. Aiden Slack comes in to score. Everybody is safe, and West Virginia is on the board.
Well, we'll call that a little youthful enthusiasm behind home plate. I didn't think there really was a play. Gurovich thought he had a chance of picking off Slack. One bad bounce, all of a sudden it's in the left field. You've given a run to the other team. The last thing you want to do is any freebies. Here you take a look, and you see that ball went right off of Slack's bottom of the spike, went into left field, and now you've got a run in, another runner at third base. And, I tell you, that's one of those things that you've got momentum. Don't give it back.
Two and two now to Dawson Maynard. This one's fouled back. There's one thing that the Florida coaching staff was a little bit concerned about. It's the depth of their pitching staff playing here over the next week. They know they've got the offense, but they also know they're going to have to do some mixing and matching, hoping to kind of just get through this tournament. Is that one not called to strike? Florida crowd wanted that pitch.
There you go. That's very close, but I tell you, our home plate umpire, Michael Oakes, was a fairly tight strike zone in the first inning for Slack. No different here. And, as an umpire, that's what you're looking for, consistency. If you're going to call a tight zone, call it all game. If you're going to be, rather liberal with it, well, hey, make sure you stay with it the whole game. And as a hitter, that's what you really want to know when you come up to the plate. If the pitch is going to be called a strike, if it's a little, inside or outside, hey, you go up there and swing the bat.
Now it's Connor Lowe's turn. Lowe takes a strike, and he is swinging a very hot bat coming into this Southeastern Regional. He had 2 big home runs at the state tournament. Swing and a miss.
A nice off-speed pitch by Cesars there. He's been pretty much staying with the fastball. A little lefty-lefty matchup. That breaking ball looked very, very good.
The 0-2 is hit to the second baseman. Makes the play. Now the ball will get away, and West Virginia gets another run. Jake Ramey scores, and it's 5-2. Looked like Shiflett had a good shot at it, just couldn't bring the ball in.
Well, Shiflett goes hard to his left. He makes a dive after the ball, and Lowe hit the ball pretty well. And again, just off the glove. Even if he makes that clean catch, he still has to get up. He's still got to turn and make a play. So that was a very, very tough chance. Definitely a base hit.
Now it's going to bring up the 6th hitter, Garrett Williamson. So West Virginia goes to their bench, pinch runner Cole Blankenship. Fastest player on the roster. Heads to first, and he replaces Connor Lowe. Very interesting start here in our 3rd game of the day. Florida with a 5 spot on the board. West Virginia, though, returning the favor here with 2 of their own. Garrett Williamson waves at a high one for strike 2. Williamson is a guy that's like a coach on the field for this West Virginia team. He is the leader. He is the field general. Down 1-2. Takes another one high, 2-2.
Looks like Caesar's just kind of overthrowing the ball a little bit right now, trying too hard, throwing an awful lot of pitches, 31 pitches so far in this inning. And you mentioned earlier the Florida coaches thinking if they do have an Achilles heel, it might be their pitching. When I asked them about, please put these in the proper positioning, your offense, your defense, and your pitching, it was exactly that. It was power hitting number 1 with their offense, their defense, and then pitching was last. And I think they were the only team that had pitching as their weakest point.
34th pitch is high and outside, and it's another walk. So that's the 3rd walk of the inning, issued by Cesars. West Virginia keeps the rally alive, and Florida coaches just kind of wince as that pitch count continues to itch up close to 40. This is Colton Goldie now. Goldie, one of those guys who just figures out a way to get things done. Not always pretty, but certainly effective as he takes one outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Runners on first and second. Goldie with a big swing here could tie this game up.
They're just the actions of Caesar's on the mound. Just kind of mumbling, talking to himself. As a catcher, I'm going to go out there and ask him if he'd like to talk. He needs to speak a little bit louder. I can't hear him. Just kind of break the ice. It's not always about strategy when you go to the mound. Some of it's just about making him laugh. Getting his mind off of the struggle that they have going on, and it's a kind of a lost art. Catcher's got to know that pitcher, and sure, at this age, why not? You just go out there and say, hey, where are we going to have ice cream after this? You think they're going to let us go to the pool? That's just simple things like that, and just kind of break that ice.
This is high and outside there, and now the base is loaded for West Virginia. And I think the Florida coaches may have to make a move here. Nicholas Cesars, just by the body language, it's like he is thinking about things maybe a little too much, Mike. I think you're right. And here comes his catcher, Aiden Gurovich, and this is something that I think all catchers can learn from. Sometimes your pitcher's struggling a bit, go out, pay him a visit, and just talk about general things, try and just calm them down.
Well, and there are times whenever, I mentioned earlier how the game gets a little bit too fast. And just going out there slows things down for the pitcher. They may be thinking, gee, it's a mechanical issue. Oh, no, the umpire's not giving me this. Oh, gee whiz, my right fielder should have had that. Wow, my arm doesn't feel so good. And now you've got 19 different things that they're thinking of. You go out there, simplify it, say, hey, bud, let's just go play catch. Come on, pick up the glove and just go ahead and let her go. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but at least what it does is it gives that pitcher out there, gives them a chance to take a big, deep breath.
4 walks issued this inning. That was the 42nd pitch. Delivered by Cesars. Jaron Glick, the shortstop in the 8-hole for West Virginia. Seven runs in the first inning between these two teams. This could be one of those real high-scoring affairs. Both these teams put up big numbers on the road here to Warner Robins. And that ball just off the plate. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Misses again, full count. Big pitch coming up here with the bases loaded.
I got to think if this runner gets on base, this might be his last hitter.
Glick waves at that one, and it's strike 3. So a tough inning for Nicholas Cesars, but he gets out of it, and Florida still leads by 3. 5-2 after 1 here in Warner Robins. Florida with a 3-run lead over West Virginia after 1 inning of play. Drew Felios alongside Mike LaValliere here in Warner Robins, Georgia, and sort of a rough first inning for both starting pitchers. Aiden Slack only goes 2/3 of an inning before heading into center field. Nicholas Cesars battled for Florida, but left with the bases loaded and 2 runs scored by West Virginia, Mike. Tough start.
Well, the big eyesore for me, and that is, 4 walks by one and 3 by the other.
Florida goes right back to work, though. Jason Lashley, with tremendous speed, lays down a bunt, and he is going to be safe at first base. Want to just give a heads up to everybody as we're going to see this play one more time. The bunt laid down by Lashley. There is some possible weather entering the area, as we'll continue to monitor that situation. A good chance that we could have a weather delay here coming up. Charging in to make the catch is Aiden Slack, and there's 1 out. And keep in mind, Mike, it's not just the rain, obviously, it's the lightning that comes into the area. Our staff here in Warner Robins doing a great job monitoring the situation.
Hell yeah, we just Again, we'll take a look at it, but this is here. Aiden Slack started the game on the mound. He says, I'm still part of this. Comes in, makes a nice hustling grab.
This ball popped up, and it's going to drop right in front of the right fielder. So first and second for Florida with one out. You can clearly see how this Florida team is built on offense.
Yeah, it's a tough way to play when you're having to score a bunch of runs in order to win your ball games. Takes a lot of heat on 1 through 9. Plus your bench players, thinking, gee whiz, we got to score 7, 8, 9 runs in order to win the ball game. But if that's the way you live, that's the way you live, and you just do your best.
Javier Soto now steps into the box. Caleb Vance working for West Virginia. This is hit hard, center field. Slack goes back, makes the catch. And the runner trying to tag at second pulls up. See the arm by Aiden Slack in center field. And that's the second out.
Javier Soto hit that ball right on the button. Didn't quite get enough under it, or else that could have been a 3-run blast. But Aiden Slack, very calmly made a nice catch, and just a one-hop bullet throw to third base. I don't care who's at second base. They're not going to advance on that one.
Aiden Gurvich steps in. He takes a strike. Watching two great Aidens duel here today. Aiden Gurvich for Florida and Aiden Slack in center field for West Virginia. Saw the favorite athlete for Aiden Gurvich, Aaron Judge.
Well, that young man surely made a mark on this season. Winning the home run derby and
hit into right center field for a base hit. This is definitely going to score one. Gurvich makes the turn, and the runner will hold at third. So first and third for Florida as they score again to make it 6-2.
Well, Gurvich gets those hands out and gets them extended, drives the ball to right field, easily scoring from second base. And here in Florida, if you give up a couple, well, get a couple back, and that's their style of play.
So now it's Tristan Rucker's turn.
Tristan Rucker right there. Let's just say that wasn't a little punch and Judy swing to hit it to right field. I think he was trying to hit it over the scoreboard.
Rucker certainly a power hitter. The meat of this Florida order. It's a piece of this one. Will it stay fair? And yes, it will. Drops just right of that left field line. And Florida is going to get another run. So the 2-out rally put in effect by this Florida offense.
And take a look, and this wasn't hit hard, but it was placed rather nicely. They never play anybody right there. Again, it's put it in play, put pressure on. You give up 2, well, get 2 back.
Nicholas Cesar's trying to help his own cause here.
Nicholas came up with a big base hit early in the ball game, 2-run scoring single, so he definitely has the ability.
Rain starts to come down here, and Warner Robbins. This one just high and outside, 2-1. Rain was in the forecast today. This area actually has been pounded by rain over the past week. So far, so good here through 2 games. But the feeling was here at the ballpark that it was inevitable today. We were going to see some weather at some point. 2-2 pitch. This is high. Ball 4 issued to Cesar, so Florida will have the bases juiced, and Ethan Strakowski coming to the plate. And we're not going to get that far. As our umpire's right on top of it, the field crew will come out. And we are going to be in a weather delay here in the third game of the Little League Southeastern Regional. So we have played almost 2 innings. Florida with a 7-2 lead. We will step aside. When the weather improves, we will rejoin action from Warner Robins. 5-run game, Florida over West Virginia here at the Southeastern Regional. We are set to resume Florida and West Virginia from the Little League Southeastern Regional Tournament. 7-2, Florida will start with the lead this morning. Saw Chuck Shiflett, manager of this Florida team, has coached most of these kids from when they were in T-ball, and West Virginia will be put in a tough spot here to start this game. The bases will be loaded for Florida. The defense for West Virginia will be on the field. And we are set to continue what we left off about 16 hours ago. There you take a look at our umpires for this morning. Michael Oakes, Donnie Cadill, Rich Babalacqua, and David Singleton also on the crew here this morning. Also want to mention the field crew here in Warner Robins, because they have really done a spectacular job keeping this field immaculate. Cheryl Miller, the head groundskeeper, and her staff have done a fabulous job.
Well, when we left this ballpark last night, it was a swamp. We got close. They were just about ready to resume play, and then we had a little more rain and just absolutely drenched things. So for the safety of the players, and it's getting a little bit late in the evening, they decided to go ahead and call it and resume play today. And I think that it's the proper call. I don't think anybody gains advantage of this. They've retooled the schedule to try to keep it as even as possible. But as we see West Virginia coming out on the field, this at bat right here could very well be the ballgame. And I say that because Florida's got a 5-run lead. The base is loaded, and Ethan Strakowski who hit a home run his previous at-bat, is coming up to the plate. So he does the same thing. This could be a quick one.
Jaron Glick will be pitching for West Virginia.
And Jaron brings a fastball in the low 60s, throws a curveball, throws a changeup, really relies on staying ahead of the hitters and keeping them off balance.
Jaron Glick usually starts at shortstop for West Virginia. Remember, Aiden Slack was the guy who started this game. He'll start in center field as you get a look at slugger for Florida, Ethan Strakowski, who had the biggest shot yesterday that we saw in this tournament. This was a blast.
And no doubter, fastball middle in, that's in the happy zone. And Ethan did not miss that. Gave Florida a 5-0 lead. Nice sportsmanship as he's turning the bases from Glick, and gets a chance to go face him this morning. So, it was good stuff to see. And I tell you one thing, whenever I see these young players hit the ball over the fence, just unbridled joy. There's no pompous stuff about it. They run around the bases. They're excited. Their teammates are excited. It makes for a great game.
A couple more defensive substitutions for West Virginia as Glick will be the pitcher. Caleb Vance will start the morning at third base. Garrett Williamson will start at shortstop. There's Coach Shiflett. Staff for Florida also made up of Andrew Garbarini, who is an umpire locally in the West Boynton Beach area, real figurehead for Little League Baseball. Also Omar Tirado, who has coached with Shiflett for years, a former South Carolina Gamecock on the staff for this Florida team. 5 hits for Florida so far in this game, none for West Virginia, but West Virginia did manufacture a couple runs yesterday to get on the scoreboard. Take a look at Nicholas Cesars. He starts off at first base. He was the starting pitcher yesterday for Florida, but Mike, that's a big story because he is not going to be available here today.
Yeah, due to the rules and of pitch counts and rain delays, if you start a game the next day, if a pitcher has more than 20 pitches but less than 40, he can go ahead and start. But young Cesars threw 40-something pitches yesterday, so he won't be eligible. Florida will have to put in a new pitcher today.
So here is Ethan Strakowski, the home run, his first time up. And there's a strike. So 1 ball, 1 strike. Keep in mind 2 outs. And obviously a pivotal moment in this game. Jaron Glick, 1-1 delivery. And this one's fouled away, 1-2. Strakowski hitting 7th in this lineup. Solid hitter. Just a great kid to coach. Florida coaches raved about him when we had a chance to meet with them on Thursday. Here's the 1-2 now. Strakowski gets around on it, and it's fielded nicely. The force at third, and West Virginia gets out of the jam. So 7-2, and Logan, West Virginia, excited, happy. They'll have a chance to score some runs when we come back. Bottom of the second, here we come. Logan, West Virginia gets their chance at bat after keeping Florida off the scoreboard after we resume. And for Florida, Javier Soto, the new pitcher. He replaces Nicholas Cesars.
Well, Javier Soto, a control pitcher. He relies on hitting his corners with his fastball, velocity-wise in the low 60s. Also throws a curveball, so he's a 2-pitch pitcher, but he throws both of them for strikes. And again, if he keeps the ball down, he's very, very effective.
Bottom of the order for West Virginia, Caden Dotson will be the first hitter. 9-1-2 here in the second for Logan. Dotson watches this one high. Caden had 2 grand slams at the state tournament. Tons of power in the 9-hole for West Virginia. And there's a strike. It's 1-2.
You got to like that kind of production out of your number 9 guy. Wow.
Swing and a miss for strike 3. So Javier Soto off to the good start.
Well, again, just good location on this fastball. We'll take a look how he struck him out. Hit ball middle away, but good steam on it. It looks like the Soto a little pumped up going in.
Top of the order now, Caleb Vance for West Virginia. Yeah, Javier Soto plays the game with tons of passion. Coaches really raved about just the way he plays the game.
Yeah, Florida basically uses 3 starting pitchers, Nick Cesars, Sean McCall, and Ethan Strakowski. And utilizing out of the bullpen is Soto and Sammy Hawk.
Hit hard right by the third baseman, Sean McCall. And aboard is the first base run of the inning for West Virginia, Caleb Vance. That was hit hard at McCall.
Yeah, they call it the hot corner for a reason. Here's the ball comes down. He tries to get in front of it. Perhaps might have been a little bit easier if he used the backhand, but you're taught. Get in front of everything, get in front of everything. And that time he just kind of get the short hop, got in between, and wasn't able to get the glove on.
Aiden Slack now tries to lay down a bunt and fouls this one back. Defense yesterday, altogether in the games that we saw, I think was outstanding. Only had 1 error in the earlier game that we saw, that Tennessee game. Tennessee defeating Alabama in our first contest yesterday. Aiden Slack, big swing and a miss for strike 2.
Well, we see big league plays during this week. Some absolutely fabulous highlight stuff, and all done by 11 and 12-year-olds.
This is a rocket to left field. Aiden Slack hits one to the wall. Florida defense does a great job keeping it only a single, but West Virginia with something cooking now. Runners on first and second.
Well, it shows you how hard this ball was hit. Slack absolutely waffles it. Strakowski not able to come up with it, but gets it in on 1 hop, and yeah, that's one of the advantages of having a smaller ballpark on defense is you can keep these base runners if you play the caroms right. That was a nice job by Strakowski. Again, first and second rather than second or third or even worse.
Now Jake Ramey's turn. He walked his first time up. In there for a strike. Logan, West Virginia making an early statement here as they've been given new life after a weather delay. Big moment here for them. That ball just misses on the outside part of the plate.
Yeah, the whole demeanor and the body language of West Virginia. When you in the top of the second inning last night, they were really scuffling, kind of hanging their heads down. This morning, it's a brand new day. They had a little pop in their step whenever they took the field, and right now they've got something going.
Fourteenth pitch coming up for Javier Soto. Aiden Slack on first. And this is fouled back. So full count now to Jake Ramey. This Logan team, very scrappy. Logan, West Virginia, only about 1,600 people living there. And that is going to be a strikeout. Check swing by Ramey, and it was a little too late. There's 2 down.
We'll take a look at this pitch. Fastball tailing away from Ramey. He wanted it inside, but it was outside. I believe they called it on the swing. I think it was close either way. And we take a look. Our home plate umpire, Michael Oakes, I think he pointed, had him going ahead and going through the zone for the swing and strikeout.
That brings up Dawson Maynard now. Javier Soto trying to get this final out, get his team to the dugout. This is hit into right field, and it is going to drop. Coming up and throwing to the plate. West Virginia able to get one. Play at second, he's out. So the Florida defense answers, although West Virginia does get one. Furious action here in the second inning after we resume at the Little League Southeastern Regional. 7-3. Florida head to the third when we return. West Virginia able to get one, and they cut into the Florida lead. It's now 7-3 as we head to the third inning. Drew Felios, Mike LaValliere, and our fabulous crew here in Robbins, Georgia. Let's take a look at the play just before the break.
Well, there's a base hit to right field. Right fielder comes up throwing. And our hitter decides that he's going to try to get down to second base. That's awfully close. Once the first pitch happens, there'll be no replay. There is replay available to both of these teams should they deem it, and there's going to be no challenge to that. So we continue on.
Matt Lashley watches one outside for ball one. Bottom of the Florida order with twins, Matt Lashley and Jason Lashley. Both with tremendous speed and both consistently turning over the order for this Florida team. Lashley watches one low. 3 balls, no strikes. So Jason Lashley coming up. Sammy Hawk, the top of the order in the hole. 8-9-1 here in the third. And there's ball 4.
Yeah, this is how Aiden Slack got himself in trouble at the beginning of this ball game in the first inning. He was throwing hard. He's in the middle 70s, which is the equivalent of 100 miles an hour if you're hitting a big league fastball. But he had trouble getting the ball over the plate. West Virginia coach Doug Williamson decided that he's going to try to save the big fella for a future game. Took him out early, and from there they're just relying on their bullpen to keep him in the game and maybe their offense chipping away.
You have a pinch hitter here, Trent McDougal. He is going to hit for Jason Lashley, so first pinch hitter of the game for Florida. Florida reserves Sean McCall in the game right now, Michael Malone, here's McDougal, and then also Marcel Harris. We'll be seeing action a little bit later. So let's see what McDougal can do. Doug Williamson, man of this West Virginia team. Also coached by Larry Ramey and Mark Love. This one taken high for ball 1.
One thing to keep in mind is when we see these substitutes that come up here to pinch hit or play out in the field, these are all-stars. These are the very best players in their league, so they're not really losing a whole bunch whenever you bring them in. In fact, some of the teams believe that their bench might be even stronger than their regular starters.
2 balls, 1 strike. Now 2-2. Yeah, it's almost like the game of soccer. You bring reserves in late, they have a big impact on the outcome of the game. That's how Little League Baseball is. Reserves playing key roles. Here's digging it out to first, and he is going to be safe down there. No, they will rule it a strikeout. Looked like the catcher did bobble it there, Mike. What happened?
Yeah, he did. Well, what ends up happening, whenever first base is occupied, even though strike 3, the batter is automatically out. Should first base not been occupied, then it would have been okay for him to go ahead and try to advance to first base. So yeah, with anytime there's a first base occupied or 2 outs. If there's 2 outs, then the ball, if the catcher drops the ball, then he actually have to execute either the tag or the throw to first base.
Now mandatory play is into effect. On that last play, also got to mention, Lashley was at first. He started to second base, but still, first base is still occupied. You cannot take first base.
Exactly.
In that instance.
It's where your position is whenever the pitch is thrown.
Gotcha.
So from there, being occupied in the big leagues, even the same thing if you're doing a hit and run, is still deemed to be occupied.
Michael Malone now steps up to bat for Florida. Malone takes a big cut, so second pinch hitter for this Florida team. Just missed on the outside corner. Caleb Vance winding up. Missed outside again. Four-run lead for Florida. Runner in scoring position here in the third. Big swing and a miss. So it's going to be 2-2.
Breaking ball. Jaron Glick relying on that breaking ball, but thus far having a little trouble getting it over the plate. If the Florida hitters remain patient, I got to believe that they're going to be able to take a few more bases on balls.
Good eye by Malone. And now first and second for Florida with one out. So the table is set for Ryan Shiflett. Shiflett, the coach's son.
It's always fun whenever this happens. We have the head coach and your son's one of the starters. And yeah, I was talking to his dad, Chuck, before the ball game, and it just you try to treat your son as like all the rest of them, but you can't sometimes help but be a little harder on him. But he does. He realizes he's a very important part of this team. He really makes things happen. So he's a young man that it's a tough situation, but the dad and son are getting along with it pretty well.
Runners advance second and third. Shiflett swings away, and it's in the catcher's mitt. 2 balls, 2 strikes now.
Jaron Glick, even though doesn't really throw that hard, got to be a little sneaky.
This is hit into the outfield, and it is going to drop at the wall. 1 run is in. Here comes the second. Shiflett comes through for Florida. A 2 RBI double, and it's 9-3.
That ball hit extremely well to the opposite field. Nice job by Shiflett. Cut down his swing. The previous swing was a little big. Here we'll take a look at it. And pitch on the outer half. He goes right with it, doesn't fight against it. That ball hitting right at the base of the fence. There's Coach waving him on. Yeah, he's looking at it. He's saying, "Look, dude, you need to get a triple on that ball." You as a third base coach, you're always wanting more.
There's Coach Shiflett. So excited to be here. The road for Florida. They took down teams like Deltona and Oviedo, South Fort Myers, an 18-12 shootout with Niceville, Valparaiso to get here to Warner Robins. And what do you make of Florida, Mike? 22 appearances in the Little League World Series, but it hasn't been since 2008 when Citrus Park Little League out of Tampa punched their ticket to Williamsport. They've had a little bit of a drought.
Well, they have, and what I find is the last 3 years I've seen some very, very good offensive ball clubs. I've seen some Florida teams play some defense, but I've really not seen the depth in the pitching. The first couple guys are pretty strong, but after that, a lot of the same type of pitchers, lower middle 60s, 1 or 2 pitch pitchers, and I think that's been their Achilles heel. How you rectify that, I don't know, Drew, but it's one of the things that as a coach, you're dealt a hand. You do your best with it. If you know that you got to score every opponent, well, so be it, and that's how you have to manage.
New pitcher for West Virginia, Connor Lowe, will warm up and will step aside. 9-3 ball game here in the third from Warner Robins. So Connor Lowe, the big left-hander, now takes to the hill for West Virginia.
Yeah, the big left-hander, pretty good fastball, middle 60s. And just talking with the coach, it's kind of funny. They go, well, he's got a curveball, slider, knuckleball. If the kitchen sink comes out at you, we wouldn't be surprised. And basically, the big lefty's got a little bit of everything, but mostly his whole key is getting that fastball over the plate and then keeping him off balance. I'm interested to see what the knuckler look like.
Javier Soto now a chance to help his cause for Florida. So 1 out. Ryan Shiflett on second base after Shiflett comes through with a big 2 RBI double. Hit back to the pitcher. Fielded nicely by Lowe, and now there's 2 away. Defense intact for West Virginia. Caleb Vance moves to first base. Garrett Williamson moves back to third base, and Jaron Glick is now the shortstop.
Now batting the catcher, number 99, Aiden Gurvich.
Here's Aiden Gurvich, the biggest stick in the lineup for Florida. And a swing and a miss. Got good movement right now on the pitches from Connor Lowe.
Yeah, there's an off-speed delivery. I would think that would be the curveball.
Hit hard, and this is into the outfield, all the way to the wall. Gurvich makes the turn, and another RBI double. This Florida team is really swinging the bat.
Well, it's hard to fault young shortstop Garrett Williamson on this ball. An absolute rocket. An absolute rocket by Gurvich. We'll take a look. 1 hop, and he kind of gives it a little bit of the Olay. He's knocking himself on the head, but I tell you one thing, unless I had a full set of gear, it'd be tough to get in front of that one.
Now it's Tristan Rucker's turn. So just when we thought West Virginia had used the delay to kind of halt Florida's momentum, get back into the game, Florida has responded with 3 more runs here in the third. This is put in play. It's going to be a tough one, though. Shortstop comes up and throws over to first. So Jaron Glick, the nice play to make up for the last one. 10-3 is your score. West Virginia's got some work to do here in Warner Robins. West Virginia fans enjoying today in Warner Robins, Little League University, providing free educational information online for coaches, umpires, league volunteers, and parents. Watch videos, review practice plans, or get some ideas for playing catch in the backyard. Visit littleleagueuniversity.org today. One defensive change for Florida. Marcel Harris moves into left field. And West Virginia now down 7 runs. This Florida offense has really been impressive here in round 1 of the Little League Southeastern Regional. And take a look at Harris, new player in the game for Florida. So for West Virginia, it's going to be 5, 6, and 7 here in the bottom of the third. And Connor Lowe will lead things off.
Re-entering the game for Florida, number 27, Sammy Hawk in right field, and number 12, Jason Lashley.
A nice crowd on hand from West Virginia. People coming all the way here from Logan.
For West Virginia, number 9, the pitcher,
Which happens to actually not be the furthest travel here. The actual folks, I think, from Alexandria, Virginia, had the longest ride here, somewhere around 10 hours.
Yep.
West Point and Beach, about 8 and some change. And curiously enough, the team from Alabama, a little bit closer than the team from Peachtree City, Georgia.
Yeah, West Virginia, 8 hours, 52 minutes to be exact. 541 miles from here in Warner Robins. Florida hike, that's not around the block either. West Point and Beach, 7 hours, 14 minutes. Sometimes when you're driving down that state of Florida, it seems like it takes forever, doesn't it?
Well, let's just say there's not a whole lot of mountains or anything to really guide you. Not a lot of scenery other than beautiful beaches, wonderful sand, palm trees. I mean, I live in Florida, so I'm a little partial to it. But I know one thing, Drew. Once I hit the Georgia state line, okay, it's all about the speed limit. It's all about the speed limit, folks.
It's all about the peaches, too, on the side of the road. Not bad either. As Lowe goes down to first base. West Virginia's got a base runner here in the third.
The batter number 7, Garrett Williamson.
Now Garrett Williamson's turn. And there's the strike. Williamson playing third base here today for Logan, West Virginia. Watches this one outside, ball 1.
Breaking ball by Soto. His job right now is force the issue, make West Virginia beat you, make them swing the bats. Anytime you give them a walk, you're letting them back in the ball game. So as a pitcher, I try to be real aggressive. I pitch to the middle of the plate first and then try to expand it if I get ahead. Too many times we'll see pitchers get a little nitpicky trying to pick some corners, don't get the calls, and before you know it, they're behind in the count.
Hit hard to second base. Shiflett over to second, the force out, and they get the double play at first. So Florida able to turn 2 on a play that was very close.
We're going to take a look at this. Ball hit hard, and the feed just a little bit low. Nice turn at second base, very close at first. Here we've got them out at second base. Lashley over to first base. Tristan Rucker with the big stretch. The call is out on the field. We have Coach Doug Williamson that is speaking with the umpires. I got to believe that we're going to review this one.
We have seen some nifty infield play, though, over the last few days.
It was, and Shiflett really did a nice job gathering in. The ball was hit hard. I would have liked to have seen him take a little bit more time. And the one thing you have to keep in mind is you've got to have a good throw to get the first guy before you even think about getting the second guy. Too many times our middle infielders are in such a hurry that they take their battery mate at second base, the guy that's going to turn the double play. They either take him off the base or he's got to rechange all of his movements, his footwork, all of those things, which creates a timing issue. Being 60 feet from home to first base, these guys get down the line pretty quick. So that's one of the things that, again, give a good feed, don't try to be too quick.
And the challenge is whether he was out at second base. And here's the video replay rules. Applies only to Little League Baseball regional and World Series televised games, and includes plays like force outs, tags on the base pass, missed bases, and hit batters. Of course, force outs, what we're looking at here.
And this is what they're going ahead and they're taking a look at is the actual play at second base, whether Matt Lashley touches second base. Here's the feed, and there's a low throw, actually right there, with the glove, with the ball in the glove, and it looked like it was on the base. That does constitute an out right there. Whether he touches it with his foot or not, you can touch the base with your glove. So we'll see how that all plays out.
Now, I believe, Mike, what's going to happen is the call stands at second. He's going to be out there. Now they're going to replay whether he was actually out at first base also.
I got to believe that that's actually a separate a separate call right there. You're allowed to if they're unsuccessful. If you can challenge and have as many as you can. Well, here's the one at first base. Well, if they say tie goes to the runner, I got him out at second, safe at first. Remains to be seen. Coach Williamson may choose to keep that challenge if indeed the one at second base that is upheld, and the one at first base he is safe. So West Virginia still has one more challenge. They lose one challenge because they were wrong at the one at second base.
Example why the replay system has been successful at this level. As the correct call made now on the field, and we can resume play. So West Virginia will have one challenge remaining after the one at second base was unsuccessful. And that's the first overturn call that we have had so far in our 2 days of competition. Now it looks like West Virginia will have a pinch hitter here.
You know, one thing to keep in mind about replays, whether it's here at the Southeast Regionals or in Williamsport, in the big leagues, there's a number of different angles. There's a lot of time. You've got slow motion. You get all these factors of the person looking at it. These umpires have to make the call bang, bang, and they're right a lot more than they're wrong.
Cole Blankenship's turn as he'll lay one down. This one will drift foul. Blankenship is a speedster, so West Virginia just wants to get him aboard. A guy that can really ignite the lineup. One out here in the bottom of the third. West Virginia trying to claw back, down 7 runs. Williamson standing on first base. Javier Soto dealing for Florida. This is hit right side of the field and foul. Game should have been played last night. It was the 4 o'clock matchup, but postponed after a 4-hour weather delay. Here we are this morning, picked up from the second inning. 1-2 to Blankenship, and this one taken hot.
See Soto having a little trouble with that breaking ball, and it's staying up in the strike zone. If I'm a catcher or a coach out there, what I'd like to see him do is spend a little bit more time on his backside so he gets his balance, and now that gives his arm a chance to catch up. Now he can get in front of it and get that little downward break to get in the strike zone.
Big strikeout for Javier Soto. And there's 2 down. That's the 3rd K for Soto in this game.
And sometimes all you got to do is show that breaking ball. It puts it in the minds of the batter, and now they're thinking, boy, that thing looks very difficult to hit. And then as a hitter, now you're in trouble, because now you're looking and you're in between. You're looking for the breaking ball, and there's no way if you're looking breaking ball that you can catch up with that heater.
Not only is it tough to hit, it can also be tough to catch as well, as Joey Canterbury now will step to the plate for West Virginia. Spanky, I know you caught some very challenging pitchers in your time with the Pirates and the Cardinals. Who were some of the pitchers that were toughest to catch?
Oh, there's one guy without a doubt who's the absolute nightmare. I still wake up with sweats. There's Tim Wakefield with the knuckleball. This is the most embarrassing thing I've ever tried to do in life. Anybody go outside and you have a butterfly, go out there and catch it with your bare hand. Good luck. Oh boy, that's and they give you a glove the size of a peach basket, and it's just embarrassing. So I'd never take my mask off in those games because I didn't want to see everybody see how red my face was after I just clanked one.
What a long, successful career he had in the majors. Big swing by Joey Canterbury. Canterbury, the second pinch hitter of the game for West Virginia. One ball, 2 strikes. And a big strikeout for Javier Soto right at 36 pitches. He silences the West Virginia order. We've played 3. Florida leads 10-3 over West Virginia.
That's the greatest game ever made. And that I need to get out and play it and just learn about it. there's so much that goes on in this game that people don't even realize.
I would say baseball is a great game. It teaches you a lot, not only about sports, but about life in general. But don't be afraid to pick up other sports and have fun doing that too.
Back here in Warner Robins, Georgia, 10-3 your score, Florida over West Virginia. As we start inning number 4, and I think great advice from those big leaguers. Hear so much about specialization this day and age. Play as many sports as you can as a youngster. It only makes you better.
I'm a big proponent of that. I love the kids to play the sports. They develop different muscle groups. They develop different kinds of balances, footwork, mentalities. Different sports require different mentalities. And I think whenever you play all these, you get the best of all of these worlds. And now whenever it comes down to specialize as you get a little bit older, okay, now you've got a little better background rather than just to being a one-sport athlete.
First at bat for Sean McCall. 2 balls, 1 strike.
You know, you always want to have, basketball in, because, it's played inside. Mm-hmm. You're in the gym. You always want to be, volleyball, basketball, anything indoors. I mean, you can't play baseball all the time, especially our folks up north. I grew up in New Hampshire, Drew, and we were lucky if we had 12 games in our Little League season. High school, we would schedule 18, usually have about 14. A couple of snow outs, couple of rain outs, and before you know it, you've played 14 games in your season.
Full count coming up to Sean McCall. Connor Lowe pitching for West Virginia. And a big strikeout for Lowe, and there's 1 away.
Yeah, good movement on this fastball by Lowe. You see the big left-hander fastball up. It looked like it was going in the outside corner, had a little bit of extra tail on it, and before you know it, it was out of the strike zone.
Here's Marcel Harris, his first at bat for Florida. Quickly down 0-2.
Connor Lowe, I like what he's doing out there. Coaches told me he's had a big assortment of pitches. He just rearing back, throwing that heater.
Hit hard to second. Another play made by West Virginia. Dawson Maynard, the good hands at second base. This West Virginia team, this has been the first team that has won states in the past 37 years. So big moment for them to get here to Warner Robins, and a player looks like was a little shaken up on that last play.
Now let's just say that this ball didn't get in his glove first. This hard hit ground ball came up, got him maybe just a little bit below the belt, and he's a little shaken up. Usually when that happens, you get a crowd of guys around and they're all kind of chuckling. Well, if you're the guy that got hit, you're not chuckling at all. As a catcher, very familiar with this.
Dawson Maynard now starting to smile just a little bit. His teammates around him. Also having
there
a
we go.
fun.
They're all chuckling. Yeah, that's what happened.
We've all been there.
Yeah, like I said, it's always easy to be the chuckler when you're the one that didn't get hit. Hey, he's ready to go.
So bottom of the order for Florida, 2 outs. It'll be Matt Lashley stepping up to the plate. Micah was talking about Logan, West Virginia, and how they have not sent a team here in 37 years. The last time they came to the Southeast Regional, the team they lost to, Belmont Heights Little League, 1980. A guy by the name of Gary Sheffield was playing for that team. "37 years ago." It's a long time.
Drew, I played against Sheffield, so it kind of reminds me of my age. So let's, we don't have to go too much with the dates. 37 years ago, hey, speaking of Chef, he was one of the guys. You want to talk about intimidating a pitcher? This guy had as good as bat speed as there was. I tell you, when he was on fire, you could roll the ball up there, and you hope it didn't take a big hop because it was going to go over the fence.
Tough play here as it drops right into center field. So Matt Lashley gets it done. And now he'll set the table for his brother, Jason Lashley, in the 9-hole. These Florida hitters are scrappy, they're gritty gutty, they do not give up, they battle at the plate.
Okay, we've gotten to a pitch count situation here where I thought, Connor Lowe has done just an absolute fabulous job, but they want him for tomorrow. His pitch count allows him, he was less than 20, according to the pitch count numbers. As we take a look at our graphic, if you throw more than 66 pitches, mandatory 4-day rest. So a lot of these coaches are trying to keep these young pitchers into the 1 to 20 pitches, 21 to 35, so they either are eligible for the next day or maybe only have to miss 1 day. So that's a situation why we're seeing a number of pitchers coming in and out. These coaches are trying to keep them all eligible for the future games. But nice job by Connor Lowe. He really did a fine job slowing him down.
So we're going to have the fourth pitcher now for West Virginia. And it looks like it is going to be Dawson Maynard who warms up. So 4 pitchers in. Credit the offense for Florida continuing to apply pressure. Remember, Aiden Stack started the game for West Virginia, and he gave way to Caleb Vance, and we've seen Connor Lowe, and now Dawson Maynard gets the ball.
Well, we've seen it in this tournament, and these big tournaments, you cannot win with 1 or even 2 pitchers. It takes 4, 5, 6, even 7 deep in order to get through this tournament. And if you end up in the loser's bracket, I mean, you're talking about the bat boy going out there to warm up to get ready for to pitch. I mean, you literally have to utilize your entire roster if you're going to win. So we've seen teams that have had one tremendous pitcher. Well, they win that game, and then there's a big drop-off. It's so much of an advantage, and that's where you see teams like Goodlettsville, Tennessee, Peachtree City, Georgia. They're deep. They have 6, 7 different pitchers with quality that get the ball over the plate. That's why they have an advantage.
Well, we got a full slate of games coming up later on today. North Carolina, South Carolina at 1 o'clock. And we've also got Tennessee and Georgia. That'll be the winner's bracket game at 4 o'clock. Then nightcap will be Virginia taking on Alabama. 2 really good clubs there. Alabama gave Tennessee all they could handle yesterday before losing their first-round contest. Several changes in the field now for West Virginia. Maynard, of course, the pitcher. Garrett Williamson at second base. Caleb Vance at third. Connor Lowe at first. Jason Lashley at bat for Florida. This ball gets by. His twin brother will take second base. Matt Lashley, Jason Lashley. Tell you what, Mike, these guys look exactly identical.
Yeah, Coach said if they didn't have numbers on, he said, good luck with you guys up in the booth trying to tell them the difference. He says the only way you're going to be able to tell is what position they take in the field.
Well, both share the same scouting report, speed. Jason gets a good cut on it. Fielded nicely, though, by Williamson, and that'll do it for Florida in the 4th. Plate 3.5. West Virginia's got work to do, trailing by 7. Little League League Southeast Park, Warner Robins, Georgia. 10-3 is your score. West Boynton Beach leads Logan, West Virginia. Drew Felios, Mike LaVollier. West Virginia will go to their bench. Here, Ryan Roberts will lead it off at the bottom of the fourth. So Roberts will pinch hit. Florida has out-hit West Virginia 8-2 in this contest, and Florida has committed 3 errors. West Virginia only 1, but the offensive onslaught from Florida has just been so much to overcome. West Virginia going to try and dig into that lead here. 38th pitch coming up for Javier Soto. One thing has been constant in this 2-day game for Florida, Mike LaVollier, and that has been the pitching of Javier Soto. He has been awesome today.
Yeah, he's coming in with the reputation of very good control. And the first guy he walked last inning really has been around the plate, head in the count, having a little trouble with that breaking ball. Same thing, just kind of rushing it up there, trying to be a little bit too quick with it. But again, he's spotting up the fastball, inside, outside, really doing a nice job.
That was the 40th pitch for Soto. And a strike delivered. 2 balls, 2 strikes now to Ryan Roberts. Roberts gets a good swing on it. Lashley, good play at short. Over to first for the out.
Outstanding by Matt Lashley at shortstop. Earlier in the game, I talked about trying to get in front of the ball. There's a situation where the young shortstop went ahead and backhanded that. It's a much easier play. There he goes ahead, sets himself, good strong throw to first base. You know what that I talk about? It's a big league play done by a 12-year-old right there. I mean, that's fabulous stuff.
So Matt Lashley and Jason Lashley having a big impact in this game for Florida, both offensively and defensively. And West Virginia is going to have another pinch hitter as Dylan Vance will get a chance to swing it back. So West Virginia just trying to get some base runners here. They did threaten in the second, went quietly in the third. And now let's see if Vance can get something started. You know, baseball teams a lot of times are about superstitions. This team from Logan, West Virginia, these uniforms that you're seeing them wear here over the last 2 days, they've never lost wearing these uniforms. They have 3 different sets, but because they've never lost in this particular set, this is what they're going with throughout their time in Warner Robins. Hasn't really worked so far, as another strikeout there, but West Virginia feels like they look the way they should, wear the proper uniforms. Eventually things will come out their way.
Confidence is confidence. I don't care how you get it. If you're believing in something, then hey, just go with it. And that's something they're going to test that superstition out. They're down by 7, but they do have 7 outs left. But yeah, they're certainly going to work that to its very end.
Aiden Slack hit one to the wall his last time up, and it was a line shot. High and tight for a strike. You have any superstitions back in the day? Anything you ate? Anything you did?
Drew, we don't have enough time in the broadcast for me to go over all of them.
Oh, big pitch right there from Javier Soto. And Soto asked the crowd to get on their feet. He is fired up, playing with passion here in Warner Robins. 10-3, Florida leads West Virginia. Want to play Little League or volunteer in your local community? Visit PlayLittleLeague.org and enter your address to find a Little League program near you. 10-3 your score, Florida over West Virginia. Hashtag LLWS this up on Twitter. These umpires doing a great job. Volunteer umpires here at the Little League Southeastern Regional. Michael Oakes behind the plate. Donnie Cadill, Rich Bavalakwa, and David Singleton here on the crew. It's amazing to know that these umpires actually pay their own way to come here to Warner Robins, volunteering. And Little League Baseball would not be Little League Baseball without their services. Taken high this time. Sammy Hawk leading it off for Florida.
Yeah, just looking at Dawson Maynard on the mound, he's really got a nice motion, nice long arm out back. You know, you can. If I'm going to try to project this young man, you know, he stays healthy, I think he's got a chance of being a pitcher. He's got some good velocities, middle upper 60s. He needs a little bit of some control with his body movements, but I tell you, it's free and easy. And he's the kind of pitcher you look at as he gets older and stronger. Really could be something else.
And Dawson Maynard with a good start, able to get the strikeout. So now Ryan Shiflett will come to the plate. Shiflett had that big 2 RBI double last time he came up. West Virginia's had to use 4 pitchers in this opening round game. Shiflett, not a very big kid, but he's actually the 3rd best home run hitter on this Florida team. Took a big cut there. Pitch coming up for Dawson Maynard. Hit hard to the shortstop. Played nicely. And Glick makes the play for the second out.
Nice job so far. Connor Lowe and now Dawson Maynard for West Virginia really have put a cap on this Florida offense. Yeah, they're still down a bunch of runs, but they're doing their job. And really no nonsense type pitching. They're rearing back, they're getting the ball, throwing it over the plate, and challenging these Florida hitters.
2 outs now, Javier Soto's turn. Favorite school subject, math. A strike delivered. That was probably my least favorite subject. I was an English guy. Numbers just weren't my thing. How about you?
I like PE and lunch. Hey, you know, it is what it is, Drew.
Hopefully you got A's in both. I'm sure you did. Hit to the second baseman. Williamson takes care of it. And a quick 1-2-3 inning in the books for Florida. 10-3, West Virginia trying to ignite the offense when we return. Well, West Virginia only able to get 1 run on the board over the last 3 innings because Javier Soto has really pitched well.
Yeah, he did a nice job. He mixed in that fastball, curveball. He noticed both sides of the plate. He elevated it. There he picks the outside corner, and really a fine job coming into this ball game.
Javier Soto now moves to 3rd base. So 50 pitches on the day for Soto. And now that'll give way to Sammy Hawk, who will take to the mound for this Florida team. So he'll face 3, 4, and 5 for West Virginia. Jake Ramey will lead things off. What can we expect, Mike, with Sammy Hawk?
Well, Sammy Hawk is used to coming into this situation, closing out ball games. He's a fastball guy, 63, maybe top out at 65. Throws a curveball and really relies on a lot of movement on his fastball. So he's relying on that fastball tailing away from the lefties and going into the righties.
Ball's popped up. Here comes Soto. Won't have a play on it, though, as it's up against the net. And a foul ball. So Soto playing third base. Nicholas Cesars has moved into right field for Florida.
There was that breaking ball from Hawk, and again we saw Soto struggle with it a little bit. Same thing, and it's easy to do. You're wanting to try to make that ball break, and you get in a hurry, and before you know it, your arm never catches up and it stays up in the zone.
Jake Ramey 0 for 1. He's the best pure hitter for West Virginia. Watch this swing. That is natural as it gets. Very hard to strike out. West Virginia needs his bat here. Try and get something going. 3 balls, 2 strikes. He doesn't have to swing here. He'll trot down to first base with a walk. So Ramey on base. Now that'll bring up Dawson Maynard.
I said it, and I'll say it forever and ever. You're always playing with fire with a leadoff walk. I'd rather see my pitcher give up an absolute blast than go ahead and walk, and it just seems that just compounds things. Again, puts a little bit more pressure on your defense. Yes, you have a 7-run lead, but that's when you have to become ultra aggressive on the mound. Fill that plate up full of strikes.
High and tight for ball 1. 1 ball, 1 strike. Right now, if you are Sammy Hawk, just focus on throwing strikes. Your team leads by 7 here in the bottom of the 5th. Remember, Little League Baseball, only 6 innings.
I mean, you'd like to think that'd be the focus of all pitchers that come into the ball game, but especially with a 7-run lead.
Let your defense work. This is a big pitch coming up here. Full count. Second day of competition. Little League Southeastern Regional. Hit hard and foul. That had just squeezed inside and stayed fair. That really would have gotten this West Virginia crowd going.
Maynard got the bat head out on that one. That pitch tailing in towards him. Kept his hands inside nice and ripped it just foul.
Maynard gets a piece of this one. It is high, it is deep, and there's no question.
Well, Drew, that might be the longest one I've seen here at Southeast Regional Little League Ballpark. That ball just barely misses the scoreboard. I'm going to go ahead and say it's close to 300 feet. This ball was absolutely hammered, and he knows it. Here we go, a little bat flip. Now I'm going to enjoy it. He's in the Cadillac. He's just trotting around the bases. Wow, Dawson Maynard. And this ball hits just in front of that big old scoreboard in left center field. Easily 300 feet.
Can't remember the last time or ever when we've seen a ball hit over the berm in the outfield, but that came close. Right at the feet of that scoreboard. So with one swing of the bat, Florida's 7-run lead cut to 5. West Virginia's back in this thing. Back-to-back home runs. Connor Lowe goes deep, and it's 10-6.
Wow, Connor Lowe, big fellow, big left-hander. Back-to-back. We got about 600 feet of home runs in the last 2 swings. Oh, my. And now if you're on the mound and you're Sammy Hawk, you got to just go ahead and relax. Here we go. You know, that looked a little bit like some of the Babe Ruth pictures from long ago. Calling little Junior Bambino out there. Big Connor Lowe.
So Sammy Hawk will get a visit from Chuck Shiflett. And let's see what Florida does here. How they answer. Only 4 hits on the day for West Virginia, but we just saw 2 huge ones.
And I can tell you this, Drew, the view from the press box is a lot nicer than the view from behind the plate. I've seen some monster shots go into the upper decks, and it's really kind of awing. Just, but obviously it's counting against you as a player. Up here, it's nice to be able to describe those bombs.
So that'll be it for Sammy Hawk, as West Virginia's fans have been awakened here in Warner Robins as their big sticks coming through. Dawson Maynard and Connor Lowe, back-to-back home runs. And that'll make way now for Jason Lashley to get warmed up for Florida.
I'm sure this wasn't in Florida's game plan. They were thinking that Javier Soto and Sammy Hawk were going to close this out, but now they're having to use Jason Lashley. Jason, fastball, curveball pitcher. Again, there's a lot of the Florida pitchers very, very similar. Lower to mid-60s with their velocities and with the curveball.
Sammy Hawk will move into center field. Coach Shiflett. Florida team is led for the entire way. West Virginia, though, 3 big runs here in the 5th. 2-run homer, then a solo shot. Keep in mind, there's no outs. And West Virginia's dugout is alive and well. Garrett Williamson now watches one outside for ball 1. Nice pitch that time from Lashley.
He started off with a breaking ball first pitch, came right back. Good location on that fastball to even the count.
Strike there. So 1-2 now.
And as a hitter, that's a tough pitch. That curveball starts right at you, ended up on the inside corner.
Williamson watches it. Good eye. 2 balls, 2 strikes. How about the situation Jason Lashley has been put in after back-to-back home runs? Just try and silence this West Virginia lineup. Now that always kind of shows who your real metal guys are, Mike, on the team. Guys who can come in and haul rallies when the other team is clicking on all cylinders. That's the job now for Lashley. 2-2. Strike 3. Big pitch for Jason Lashley, and there's one away.
A good pitch right there. That's all set up by the breaking balls that he showed earlier. He missed outside with the breaking ball that time. He goes with the fastball on the outside corner. Williamson thought it might have been a little bit outside, but I really like the pitch.
Now it's Colton Goldie. 7-hole for West Virginia. Big swing at the high fastball. Keep in mind, Florida coaches knew that their pitching probably wasn't going to be the best in this Southeastern Regional. Going to have to rely on their offense and defense to get things done. Jason Lashley trying to do his part here. And now 1 ball, 2 strikes. Lashley in a pretty nice groove. Goldie gets a piece.
There's that breaking ball, and that got a piece of Aiden Gurvich. That foul tip got him right. It looked like right in the bicep or the tricep. They got him right in the arm. That one came directly right off the bat, right into the arm. And he's trying to get a little feeling into it. Know what that feels like there, young man. So one thing about catching, it's a fabulous position. You're in every single play. To me, is Well, actually, I didn't have a choice. It was either catch or stay home. That's what they told me. But you get your bumps and bruises. But I tell you, it's a fabulous position to learn. I'll just say it's not a position for the timid.
Neither is pitcher Jason Lashley coming on in relief. Big pitch there, 2 straight strikeouts. So back-to-back home runs for West Virginia, now back-to-back strikeouts, and there's 2 away, and a bit of a smile from Jason Lashley. Florida team very unpredictable on the road here to Warner Robins, as they were tested by Niceville Valparaiso, then erupted for 18 runs in that state championship game. Jaron Glick now for West Virginia.
You'd have to think that Florida's motto is score 1 more than the other ones. You know, and that's whoever you're playing. They see, you know, they've thrown up 10 runs so far in 5 innings. You know, if that's the way your team is, that's the way your team is. There's been teams in the past that have had to live and die.
Soto comes up to make the play for Florida. So West Virginia does make noise in the inning, but Florida able to limit the damage. First, the big home run by Dawson Maynard up on the berm. Connor Lowe follows. It's a 10-6 game. Little League Southeast Regional from Warner Robins, Georgia. West Boynton Beach takes on Logan, West Virginia. 10-6 is your score as we head to the final inning. And it'll be Aiden Gurvich for Florida, the cleanup batter, as Dawson Maynard continues to deal for this Logan team. This will be the 20th pitch for Maynard. West Virginia on their 4th pitcher. Florida has led 4 throughout the contest. And keep in mind, this is the 2nd day we've needed to play this game. Gurvich swinging a hot bat, 2 for 2, doubled his last time up.
And Maynard get away with a hanging breaking ball right there. Big Aiden Gurvich had a nice swing, just a little bit underneath it, or we might have seen another long far one.
And coaches for Florida said Gurvich hits like a grown man. He's got some power. That ball was close that time, just missed the plate.
Well, let's just say Michael Oakes, he flinched on that one behind home plate. He wanted to call it.
Gives Gurvich an extra pitch, and he takes advantage of it, puts it into right field. And Aiden now 3 for 3. Aiden Gurvich, a pure powerhouse. The meat of that Florida order, tough to deal with. Now Tristan Rucker, the first baseman, comes up. And we're going to have some changes now in the field.
Yeah, I'd have
for
to
West
think
Virginia.
I'd have to think they're going to take Dawson Maynard out. He started that at bat with less than 20 pitches. He'll be eligible for their next ball game. And really, I think it's pretty smart. You're down by 4 runs. Let's go ahead and keep those live arms available as long as you can.
So we will step aside and introduce you to the new pitcher for West Virginia when we return. New pitcher for West Virginia will be Ryan Roberts, and they'll make defensive changes as well. Garrett Williamson at 3rd, Dawson Maynard at 2nd, Caleb Vance moves to left field.
Well, Ryan Roberts, a little crafty lefty, comes out on the mound featuring his fastball, low 60s, little curveball, changeup. And I think every left-hander, they're born with that little circle change, the little fader away from the right-handed hitters.
Ryan Roberts will be the 5th pitcher of the game for West Virginia. No outs here in the 6th. meat of this Florida order. Tristan Rucker coming up to bat. He'll be followed by Nicholas Cesars and Ethan Strakowski, who has a home run yesterday. This has been the highest scoring game of this Southeastern Regional so far. 16 runs. And probably looking for more, as Rucker just puts it in play, and now runners on first and second. Everybody's safe for Florida.
Tough play for Garrett Williamson, the third baseman. Ranged far to his left. Reached out the glove ball. Couldn't stay inside of it. But a great effort by Williamson.
And now here comes Chuck Shiflett. See if they pinch hit here for Nicholas Cesars. Cesars looks like he will get a chance to swing a bat. And we're ready to resume. This one gets away. And the runners will move up. Second and third now for Florida. Tell you what, credit this Florida offense. They have attacked, and attacked more in every single inning.
Yeah, only held hitless by a couple of innings, but they get off to a great start. 5 in the first, 2 in the second, 3 in the third, and really has had West Virginia on their heels the entire ball game.
Nicholas Cesar's got home run power for Florida. Held back there. Here we see lefty against a lefty, Mike. In Little League Baseball, with the same sort of matchups apply that do at the Major League level. We'll talk about that in just a moment, as this is line to center. Aiden Slack makes a great play on it, tagging up his Gurevich. So Florida's going to notch one more run to make it 11-6.
That ball hit extremely hard. Nicholas Cesars to center field, and Aiden Slack, being as tall as he is, jumped up for this. I think he saves a home run. Ends up being a sac fly. Take a peek at it, and this is just a rocket. He's almost by the warning track out there. That might have had a chance of leaving the ballpark.
And there you see tip of the helmet from Cesars. Aiden Slack made a great play.
But getting back to your question, Drew, I think it's so much overrated, the lefty-lefty thing. There are certain left-handed pitchers that are going to give left-handed hitters trouble. There's other left-handers that really is not going to make a difference. And that goes all the way through baseball. It's funny because as you're going through the professional ranks in the minor leagues, you're facing these lefties because your rosters aren't that big, and you're hitting them all. Then all of a sudden you get to the big leagues, and the big league manager's like, oh, well, you can't hit lefties anymore. Whoa, time out here. How'd this happen all of a sudden? But, that's just the way things are, and, that's just, that's part of, let's call that sabermetric stuff.
See, West Virginia appealed that Gurevich tagged up at third base. The umpire says that he did, in fact, do that. So-called safe. That run will count, 11-6. Now, I totally agree with you, Mike. I think that is overrated so much on the major league level and just overdone, overanalyzed. As we got a pinch runner coming into the game for Florida, Marcel Harris heads to second base.
And again, there are certain pitchers out there, especially your bullpen guys, that are specialty guys that come in just to face one lefty. Those guys, yeah, they're going to be tougher on that. But for the most part, a lot, especially the starters. Clayton Kershaw, guess what? He's going to get lefties and righties out. But there's other lefties out there that are going to have as much trouble with one as the other. So, that's something that, somebody came up with this a long, long time ago, and it stuck. And for all of us left-handed hitters out there, it's like, well, Why can't you say the same thing about the righty-righty thing?
Exactly.
But no.
Exactly. Couldn't agree more. Ball delivered high. Ethan Strakowski. Now the batter for Florida. Strakowski had the big home run yesterday to break this game open. Florida sitting on a 5-run lead. The way West Virginia was swinging the bat, anything is possible. 5 runs in Little League Baseball can be made up very quickly. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Ryan Roberts needs some outs for West Virginia. He'll get one here.
Yeah, went with the high fastball and showed him the breaking ball. Here we'll take a look. Location up out of the zone, tied up Strakowski.
Number 24, Matt Lashley.
Location is everything, and I tell you, that pitch, very, very difficult. If you're hanging in there on that left-handed pitcher as well as Strakowski does, that's a very effective pitch, throwing it inside.
Now Matt Lashley's turn. One for 2 for Matt Lashley. Puts this one in play. It's fielded fair. What a throw to first base. Caleb Vance over there on the hot corner. Good play, good throw. Able to get Lashley. I believe that was Garrett Williamson on the hot corner. Nonetheless, 11-6.
Florida, the top of the 6th inning, 1 run, 1 hit. Changes for Florida, replacing number 5, Ethan Strakowski.
Final at-bat coming up for West Virginia. They've got 5 runs to make up if they want to at least extend this game here in round 1 of the Little League Southeastern Regional. 11-6 your score, and the big sticks for West Virginia. Caden Dotson can come up. Dotson, remember, in the 9-hole for West Virginia, but he is strategically placed there. He has got home run power. And then you got the top of the order with Caleb Vance. So Matt Lashley dealing for Florida. He was able to halt the momentum that West Virginia had established off those back-to-back home runs in the last inning. Misses inside. Here it's 1-1. On the pitch count for Lashley. This will be his 18th coming up. I say that because you decide to go the rest of the way with him here in this inning, he's not going to be available tomorrow. The 1-2 to Dotson. Swing and a miss. And Lashley off to a good start now with 19 pitches.
Take a look, and good fastball. Look at the location. Catcher lined up outside, right on the outside corner, right by him. Good execution, and for me, what I see there is good discipline by the pitcher. You've got 2 strikes. Just execute your pitch. A lot of times pitchers will try a little bit too hard, try to throw the ball a little bit too hard past the hitter. Their mechanics get messed up, and then they don't deliver the ball. It ends up actually not being as fast or have as much velocity as they intend. So the whole key is stay within yourself and just execute the pitch with 2 strikes.
Next game's up. North Carolina and South Carolina coming up next. Tennessee and Georgia, first winner's bracket game later on at 4 o'clock. This is fouled away. So the top of the order now with Caleb Vance, Aiden Slack will be on deck for West Virginia. They need Vance to get on here because Slack has got that home run power. Jake Ramey, also Dawson Maynard can all hit it out of here with one swing of the bat. That's the case right now. If you're trailing by 5, you're West Virginia. You just need base runners here.
Exactly. No such thing as a 5-run homer. So what you're trying to do is, any way possible, trying to get on base. In a perfect situation here, you got a 3-1 count. If the coach does give you the hit sign, this is where you have to pick out a pitch, and it's got to be your favorite pitch. If it's not, you just go ahead and take it and go one more pitch and get the count up.
This is going to be popped up. Right fielder comes in. Cesars makes the play, and now West Virginia down to their final out. So the pitch count for Lashley up to 24, and I believe they're going to take him out here because they want him available tomorrow.
Yeah, he started that at-bat with 18 pitches, so he is still considered in the 1 to 20 range. He'll be available tomorrow, so they're going to call on one more guy. They're looking for the 18th out, which sometimes is hard to find.
So Lashley does his job, and now the coach's son is going to have his number called. Brian Shiflett will try and finish this game off for Florida. All he needs to do is get one West Virginia out, and Florida's advancing. So much strategy in Little League Baseball. Managers really have to mix and match. We talked about that yesterday. But you truly have to be a game manager, not just playing for today. You're playing for tomorrow, and heck, you're playing for Sunday as well. You're playing for Monday.
Well, that's one of the things that adds a little spice to the tournament, as far as I'm concerned. And again, it's all about your depth of your team, not necessarily how great one of your guys is. And we're seeing teams advance and not so much individuals. I like the whole concept. I think the idea of regulating pitch counts is important, even at this age. Keeping in mind that, especially here in the Southeast region, there's a lot of baseball being played. These kids are playing year-round, so it's not like they're just out there for just a little bit of the spring and the summer. These kids are playing spring, summer, fall, and training in the wintertime. And many of these young players will go on and play on other teams. And, that's just something that it's a way of protecting the tournament and protecting the individual.
So Shiflett, the new pitcher, and Jason Lashley moves to second base. So you got the Twins up the middle. Matt Lashley at short, Jason at second. Aiden Slack representing the final hope for West Virginia. And he drives this one, no doubt, to the scoreboard and out of here. Aiden Slack unloads for his first home run today.
Well, the only solace in that for Ryan Shiflett is it only counts as one. But there's 3 home runs hit by West Virginia. They're the 3 furthest in this tournament, and frankly, the furthest 3 that I've seen in the at this ballpark. And this is just a no-doubter. It was just a matter of, was it going to hit the scoreboard or just in front of it? There's a black fence right beyond our regular 225-foot fence. Black fence is 250 feet. So now we're going back to the scoreboard. I may have miscalculated earlier and said 300. It's probably closer to about 3 1/4.
That's the 3rd home run today by this Logan, West Virginia team. Still trying to claw back. They trail by 4. Tough play. And this one gets by the first baseman. West Virginia will continue their rally with a runner on second base now and 2 outs. They are not done yet. Jake Ramey does his job.
Well, ball down the right field line. Tristan Rucker, and we'll see him go after it, and doesn't quite move his feet just enough. He shuffled and then kind of stopped. If he would have taken one more shuffle, then he'd been in front of it. Would have been a tough play for him to get back over to first base. I think Ryan Shiflett was on his way over to first base like every first baseman or every pitcher should. But again, tough play, but probably something that if you hit Tristan a bunch of them, he's going to make them more than he's not.
Dawson Maynard, 2-run home run his last time up. So this is the guy West Virginia wants at the dish. A big swing here. He can pull West Virginia to within 2, and then things would get really, really interesting here in this game. West Virginia not giving up. Big swing there, and quickly it's 1-2.
Oh, a little sidearm snake from Shiflett. He's thinking, well, you know what? I've seen these guys hit the ball a long way. Drop down a little bit, put a little frisbee on it.
Oh, big pitch there. And Ryan Shiflett gets it done. Florida crowd on their feet. And Ryan Shiflett, big sigh of relief after giving up a home run to Aiden Slack. Really an outstanding ball game. Took 2 days to play, Mike. Both these teams competed till the end.
Yeah, they really did. Florida, again, their offense, they took advantage of every miscue from West Virginia. They took advantage of some walks. A lot of hitting going on. They had 9 base hits in the game. But West Virginia, you know what, they came in. I think the rain helped them a little bit. They came back. You saw they've got a lot of power. They've got guys throughout this lineup that hit the ball long, they hit the ball far. If they get some pitching, we may hear from them before this tournament's over.
Florida moves on to the winner's bracket, and they await the winner of North Carolina and South Carolina. We'll see that game coming up next. West Virginia had some big swings in this one. They hit 3 home runs, but not enough for a balanced Florida attack. That next game, 1 o'clock here on ESPN3. So for our entire crew here up in Georgia at the Little League Southeastern Regional, for Mike LaValliere, I'm Drew Fellio saying so long from Warner Robins.